Well, what a week in gold, ladies and gentlemen. Gold lost almost 1% as North America closed Tuesday, as commodities faced a bit of pressure and a US dollar bounce. However, overall, it's up 1.8% in May and 13% year to date. Silver is under a bit of pressure as the gold-silver ratio rebounded towards the 79 level, up 17.3% last month. Go silver, a 31.5% gain so far this year. However, platinum retreated as traders remained a little worried about the strength of demand from China. After a weak March, central bank gold buying rebounded in April. Those central bankers, they're going to love gold, aren't they? Minimal selling, lots of purchases, and that March slowdown in net central bank gold buying appears to have been a bit of an anomaly. Turkey, India, Poland, Kazakhstan, I should say, Singapore and Russia were the other big purchasers. And the US Fed has quietly admitted, this is really interesting, gold might be replacing the dollar as a collapse fear is predicted. And that's also triggering a $15.7 trillion ETF Bitcoin price flip. Wow. Now, here's a really interesting fact, ladies and gentlemen. Costco has continued to see an insatiable appetite for physical gold and silver, and it's really transformed their marketplace. They've announced 9% increase in sales and a 20% jump in online. And that's been driven by gold and silver bullion sales, amounting to 100 to 200 million per month. Another little fact this week, the inspiration for the Big Short movie, if we all remember the Big Short, investor Michael Burry has made gold number 5 in his portfolio after he dumped the tech giants, Alphabet and Amazon. So holding a lot of his assets in physical gold, he purchased 400, very specific here, guys, 440,729 shares in the Sprott Physical Gold Trust, valued at 7.6 million at the end of Q1. And that is the 5th largest position in his portfolio. The price right now is 2,328 US dollars or 3,500 Aussie. And not forgetting silver, of course. Silver, after that rebound, $29.60 US or $44.50. It's Wednesday, June the 5th, 2024. I'm Kerry Stevenson, that gold lady, founder of the Australian Gold Conference. We have 82 days until we all meet up at Crown Sydney. Joining me today at the Gold Roundtable, we have Tony Locantro. He's the investment manager for Alto Capital. Welcome, Tony. Good to see you. What's your take on what's going on after all that?
Well, that was a bit of a mouthful. Look, there's always machinations going on that will drive gold and silver prices higher and lower. I think Burry's an interesting fact. Obviously, I've only seen the Big Short probably 35 times. And for him to come out and say, gold, it's my 5th biggest position, that's great news. I know that sometimes following famous people doesn't make a lot of sense at times. I remember in the days when Warren Buffett was selling all his silver around $4.50 an ounce because he was petrified about a fall off in demand due to Kodak going digital. So, I mean, we all make mistakes in the market, and but if Burry's right, obviously after the Big Short, he went big into water. Anyway, let's see. But I think what's going to drive the gold sector is the participation rate. And once the big fundies get away from the Magnificent Seven, and then they all want to get their bonuses, hopefully the gold participation rate increase is all we need. We get another run up in the physical, and then we get hopefully a big gold share price bubble, which we haven't had yet at all. So gold equities are clearly underperforming the gold price, and this has been going on since the gold price started to run. So anyway, exciting times ahead, and thanks for having me.
Good to see you. And by the way, quick plug here, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to know what's going on in gold and silver, we've got the Australian Gold Conference, 26th to the 28th of August at Crown Towers in Sydney. Each of these people that you see on screen will be there. Tony, Damien, Grady, they're all going to be there, so you can go and talk to them in person instead of just looking at them on Zoom. But next up, we have Damien Keys. Damien, he is the managing director of Sunshine Metals. They're up here in Queensland. Damien, it must be good times. Look, equities have been under a little bit of pressure, I guess, but you've stuck it out. Are things starting? Are you getting a bit of a smile on your face now that you're seeing, those prices? Is it like 3,500 Australian dollars, or does it not matter?
Well, I think we're starting to see the tailwinds kicking in. Certainly, the producers early on, even in the last couple of days, those pre-producers or those with ambitions to produce have just started. Black Cat announced financing for the Paulson's restart. Ramelius have announced queues kicking off. So those guys are now starting to get that run and rise. And I guess the very junior end of the spectrum, like ourselves, still waiting for that real kick in the tail. But we're certainly doing the work to set ourselves up for when it comes through.
All right. And one of the things that I didn't mention was Sunshine Metals. Their code is the ASX code is SHN. Check them out. I'll come back to you, Damien, because I just want to find out a little bit about what you're doing anyway. But that smaller end of town, that equities end of town, is looking pretty interesting. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, not financial advice. Go do your own research or come to the Australian Gold Conference and talk to them in person. Next up, we have Grady Wulff. She's the market. Sorry, what are you, Grady? You're the market
analyst. Yeah,
market analyst for Bell Direct, and she does a lot of looking at what's happening in the sector. She does some stock picks. She really knows her stuff. Grady, this uptick in gold. Does that mean that you're starting to look more in that sort of precious metals sector because you're starting to say, starting to see a little bit more life in that sector?
Absolutely. I've been talking about gold for a little while now, and it's kind of the commodity that came out of nowhere last year. We started the year in 2023 talking about copper, which obviously had a false start, and then uranium was the second commodity that was really on our lips. But gold came out of nowhere, and the run has just not seen a pullback yet for so many reasons. And the key reasons driving this is obviously geopolitical tensions are rising, and with higher demand for gold at the moment, obviously undersupply, demand is basic economics. That's one of the key drivers. Then obviously the rate cut outlook is what we're looking at as well. So that's another key driver. But investors are seriously turning to safe haven assets because the run on all markets globally has been so widespread and has just kept going. And we've been expecting a pullback for a while now, but it just hasn't come. So a lot of investors are seeing that the opportunity to get into AI or something in the growth sector is just out of reach. So they're looking for gold to hedge against inflation, against all of these other factors driving the gold price.
That was a really good overview there, Tony. Are you seeing that some of your clients are starting to say, "Find me some good gold stocks," or as Grady just said, we had the copper, we had the uranium, or what are your clients looking for at the moment? Are they understanding that gold is going to start to move and continue?
Oh, we're pretty much full up at the moment. Myself and my clients, we've built sizable stakes in gold and silver companies, and we've helped out with some placements. But what the next driver will be is once share prices start to run, FOMO kicks in, then suddenly I get a lot of inquiries and people suddenly want to open up accounts and start chasing gold stocks. So that's the emotional side of the market, where the only way to reverse low share prices is once they start to run, then they tend to overshoot to the upside. And I'm expecting FOMO to kick in, and FOMO, it'll kick in any sector that starts to run again. So hopefully, we've been saying it for a while. Let's just have a good old fashioned gold and silver stock bubble, and may the best traders win. But it seems a long time ago since 1978, 1980, when gold stocks went truly parabolic. And we've seen what's happened with anything ending in IUM. And now let's get some gold fever. But it's hard to see a bubble when you're not in it. But when you're in one, you don't think it's a bubble. So we're locked and loaded on these gold stocks. I'm kind of hoping that.
Yeah. Tony, I'm just going to interrupt you for a second, because you said to me the last time we had a truly big bull market was 78 to 80. Are you serious? Is that long ago? I'm going to go back to Grady in a minute and ask her.
Well, that's when there was a real true gold stock bubble. Obviously, you're going to have periods where gold stocks have massive runs, but if you go back and do some research on what happened to some of the stocks, but what gold stocks have been, they've been a constant throughout. You've always had gold stocks that have grown, that have become, you look at your Northern Stars, your Ramilises, Regis, etc., Capricorn, but we haven't seen that craziness yet in gold and silver stocks. I mean, we saw that obviously lithium, cobalt, uranium, but there has been some mini bubbles along the way, but nothing spectacular or stupid. And I think what I'm looking for is a return of stupid, because we all know that human stupidity is infinite.
Oh, you gotta love having Tony Locantro. Yeah, the return of stupid. Now, Damien, it's not why I'm coming to you.
Oh, well, the return of stupid.
No,
I won't take it personally.
I know you're coming to the Australian Gold Conference. We're looking forward to seeing you there. I guess it goes back to what I was saying before. What are you up to at the moment? You've got a gold project up in Queensland. Just give us a quick overview of where you're at.
Good. Full focus is around Charters Towers. So Charters Towers, Ravenswood. Charters had its own stock exchange back in the day, such was the endowment of the region. So about 20 million ounces has come out of that district. We're focusing predominantly on an area called Liontown. There was a polymetallic resource there.
It started life as... understand, explain a polymetallic resource.
Polymetallic. So we've got, it was a system that was laid on an ancient seafloor. It's got lead, zinc, copper, silver, and plenty of gold. Now, this spot actually started life in 1905 as a gold mine. Lead and zinc were discovered in the 50s, and the gold side of the story was largely forgotten about for about 70 years. In some of the last rounds of drilling by the previous owners, they started to get some interesting gold numbers, and it was gold only in a system that should have multiple elements. We've taken that torch and run with it, and revised what we think is going on geologically, and we've stepped out off the edge of the resource significantly, and yesterday put out some cracking gold numbers. So we're really starting to expand this gold story. So started life as a gold system, found all these other metals and focused on those sort of things. And we're now back into a gold and copper rich environment deeper in the system. Deeper in the system is still actually just further north. So it's a shallow ore body. And yesterday we hit, we announced 16.2 meters at 4.5 grams gold and 1.1% copper. And
can you talk to me? Can you talk to my audience like a 5-year-old? What?
Yep. So gold grades, people will come out in the market and tell you they've got a high grade hit. I think, and typically they'll talk about anything maybe 4 to 5 grams. Look, that broader zone, so economic widths, we're talking about underground mining, depending on the grade, but you want to be around that 5 gram mark for an underground mine, 2 grams for an open pit mine, something like that. Look, our zones yesterday, big step off zones, and they included 6.2 meters at 9 grams gold and 2.5% copper. That's outstanding grades in anyone's books. We've got it over 3 holes, 100 meters spaced and 250 meters off the edge of the resource. So we're going to add a lot of gold metal to an already gold-rich resource. And we're looking forward to really drilling that out aggressively through the back half of 2022. And just to highlight how little
you mean the back half of 2024?
2024, sorry.
You were going back a couple of years there.
It's Queensland. We're a little bit behind the times. But look, just to go even further into how much the gold side of the story was forgotten, there's another resource. So Liontown East is 400 meters away. And they targeted that polymetallic, the zinc lead-rich part of the system on the contact. Beneath the contact, this certain contact that we're looking beneath, there's only about 25% of the samples, 25% of the drilling has been sampled. And we can see big gaps in the data there. The core still exists, so we're starting to pull that core out and cut it. And hopefully it's another free kick out of this Liontown system. So the gold was largely forgotten about. We're making big inroads pretty quickly, and that whole belt of volcanics, there's assays for lead, zinc, copper. Very little has actually been assayed for gold, despite the district producing so much historic gold.
It's good.
It's a cracking story, and
and you know what? It's
work.
a cracking story. Don't give it all away now, because you and I are going to have a deep, in-depth discussion later this week. So don't tell them all the secrets just yet. But thanks, Damien. I want to come to Grady, because Grady, what do you look for when you, because you do stock picks occasionally? And I love it. I go to events and you're up there and you're saying, well, here's one and this is why I like it. But what I want to know is, what are you looking for when you look at these? And let's be specific to a gold pick.
Yeah, to a gold pick. So I'm a little bit more risk averse personally. So I like to look at the ones that are up and coming, because sometimes you feel like you've missed the boat with, as I was mentioning before, the AI bandwagon, that the NVIDIA share price just hit $1,000 per share this week. So a lot of people think they've missed the bandwagon and missed the train and the rally. So when looking in gold miners, I definitely look for the up and comers, the new stories, the new assay results. I definitely look for low costs. Some producer on the horizon, or an explorer that has a mill on their property or on their assets. So obviously Spartan Resources is one that I'm invested in myself, and that was after visiting the Dalgaranga project. And now recently hearing the pepper, they've discovered this pepper deposit, as well as Never Never. That's a key one for me. Management team as well is a big thing for me when looking at a gold miner. Do they have the experience? Do they know what they're doing? Have they done it before? And obviously just understanding the scope of the land. So if it's in WA or a tier 1 jurisdiction, it's definitely attractive. Our analysts at Bell Potter, they do a lot of research as well. So David Coates is one of our lead senior analysts.
We'll get him on next time as well.
There you definitely have to get him on next time, but he helps me with all the insights. And his picks at the moment are Regis and Capricorn and Gold Road Resources. So those three are ones that he's seen are really, really attractive. Obviously, Regis have come off their hedge book at the moment, so they're able to peg to the gold price, spot price now, and not be hedged to a certain price that they locked in before. They've also we've also seen some obviously wet weather events that impacted Regis and Capricorn recently, and Gold Road recently. So we see that they're in the past now, and the favourable weather is looking good. So those three are Dave's picks at the moment. But yeah, we always look for obviously underground, open pit. Most gold mines obviously are open pit, so naturally you're at the detriment to the weather, but hopefully the weather isn't going to be too bad soon.
No, it's interesting, isn't it? Because you are at the detriment to the weather.
You are. The weather gods do everything.
You know what? I know you just mentioned WA, but I'm going to put it out there. I'm based in Queensland, so is
I
Dave.
know.
We're going to say Queensland's the place to be, and I tell you why, Grady.
We say Queensland too.
I do rate it, because I think that Queensland is, and Damien, you can correct me if I'm wrong, it's largely underexplored, isn't it?
I was about to say it's very much less explored than WA. WA is very saturated, but we know it's a good mining jurisdiction. So hopefully Queensland can come in and take a little bit of the market share too.
Yeah, I put a slide in presentation at RIU in Fremantle a few years ago, and I very broadly pulled some Bureau of Statistics numbers out, and it showed that WA had, I think it's about 8 times the exploration spend outside of iron ore and coal. Take those couple out, but it was about 8 times the exploration spend, and I think it reflects in the maturity of the ground too. So we walk into an area that you would expect has had an inordinate amount of exploration over its time, like the Charters Towers district, and we're finding areas that are undrilled, no soil samples. We're pouring back over reports and nothing's been done in 40 years. It's a blank canvas. It's a fantastic place to do business, and it helps that we're based 100 k's away from our project, so we're on ground
You can
nice
go
and
there
quick
whenever you like.
and know the landscape. So
Stay close to Grady, Damien. She might start to cover you.
Yeah, we might have to come on up and have a little look at that.
Yeah,
yes.
absolutely. Tony, you're
I
based.
guess just
Go on.
oh, sorry, just quickly, the other thing to note with Queensland is that the big boys have actually started moving in lately. So we have
I
got
know, M&A.
Gold Road are just out the road now. Newcrest have got or New Mont,
You
New
want, I was about to
whatever
say.
they are. They've got a big JV down the road at GBM. Goldfields have got a big JV just down the road around the Great Southern Tenure. So the big guys are in and active in the area up and down the east coast, and are seeing the opportunity that I think we picked a while ago as well. So
And you know what? The guys like David, they do all the work, and then the big guys come in and go, "Oh, that looks good. Now all the work's been done. Good on them." Tony, you're over in WA.
Yep.
Do you even care about Queensland? Or
Well, probably we'll see how I feel tonight about the state of origin. But for those unaware, I was actually for a while there a police officer in Gympie, up in the
Gympie.
around the Gympie area. Yeah, everyone. Yeah, I better not say what I truly felt about the area, but lots of gold in that area. Probably sent a couple of companies to the wall, but gold is gold. It doesn't matter where you make a major discovery. I guess the Queensland government are very good with drilling grants, so and WA as well. So the government is stumping up for the drilling, and we're seeing some great exploration. So I think it doesn't matter where the mine is, as long as there's less red tape. If you're going to hold up a gold project due to a rare frog or some rare plant, I just think we're getting on with it. And Australia has maintained, it's always been a great jurisdiction, but, you could say that Kalgoorlie's been drilled to death, but there's probably still discoveries to be made. So I think it's certainly going to be a big exploration hit, neurology, because neurology, when someone makes a discovery, everyone around that assumes they've got the same discovery, and you start to see a bit of entertainment and excitement. So let's see where the M&A goes. For a lot of the bigger gold companies, actually, it'd be cheaper to take some of these companies over with gold in the ground rather than go through all that exploration, environmental, and all that stuff. So
at the right price for the share.
at the right price, of course. But takeovers are normally ego-driven, and you're not going to see too many at the bottom. Yeah. And again, it's a case of mine's bigger than yours, and then you see battles towards the end of the cycle. So I think we've still got a long way to go in gold equities, M&A, exploration, and hopefully a run on share prices. So yeah, there's a lot to look forward to.
And one of the things I do want to point out to everybody as well is that at the Australian Gold Conference, we're not just going to cover the mining companies. We're going to explain to you exactly why we think, and again, not advice for you, do your own research, but why we think that people should have some diversification into precious metals, be that via shares. But if you don't understand that, maybe you just want to buy a little bit of bullion, and that can be gold or silver. So on Monday, the 26th of August, Bullion Now are sponsoring a free event for you guys to not you guys on screen, for you out there in YouTube land to come along to Crown Towers, come and have an understanding. We're going to talk to you about ETFs, shares, physical gold, physical silver, all the different ways, digital, what's happening with all the different ways that you can get exposure. Because, as I said earlier, there's, I don't know, the US, what's the US debt? It's $34 trillion. The interest on that US debt alone is over $1 trillion. They are going to continue to print the funny money, or should I say the funny currency, into oblivion. And that's where gold comes into its own, whether it's physical or shares. But you tend to find that the gold price starts to move, then the share price starts to move after that. Grady, would you agree with that? sentiment?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's all about the rates at the moment. It's all about what's going on in a global sense. And economy is moving and there's so much at play. I actually can't even begin to start where there's so many factors that we need to consider when looking at the gold price. But all of them are fueling this tailwind that really suggests the rally is going to continue. I spoke to the analysts upstairs a little while ago about what their outlook for the price of gold is, and some have even said 2,500. So that's what we're expecting. And it is a rate driven market at the moment, especially for equities across the board, not just gold, but that's what we're looking at.
Yeah. And I said last week, Jim Rickards has predicted $27,000.
Wow.
He did the numbers. And when you do the numbers, you go,
Yeah,
it's not so crazy, but
it's not.
Who knows where it's going to be. And we're 82 days out from the Australian Gold Conference, ladies and gentlemen. So, I'm getting just little things saying to me that the world, in terms of geopolitical risk and a little bit of uncertainty out there, a bit of anger going on between America, Russia, China, who knows where we'll be. And 82 days is not that long away, but it can be a long time in this particular sector. I'm going to give the last words across to you, Tony. Just final words of what you think people should be doing right now.
Certainly accumulating quality gold juniors. And, you could also look to the recent investments that Hedley Widdop and Line Selection have made. Nudge, nudge there.
Yeah, nudge, nudge. And Hedley Widdop will be speaking at the Gold Conference as well. Now, Damien, I don't need to ask you. You'll just turn around and say, buy ASX code SHN.
Well, you can follow Hedley Widdop there too. Line have taken a nice position in Sunshine lately. But yeah, by all means, have a look. There are some cracking gold stories out in the junior end of the market that haven't necessarily got the love they deserve of late, and I think there's going to be some big opportunities there. Yeah. Sunshine being one.
And we're going to have a lot of them at the Australian Gold Conference. Grady, where are the opportunities right now for you?
Opportunities at the moment, we're seeing a lot of people look into gold ETFs at the moment to get the full exposure for physical and also gold mining ETFs. We're also, for me personally, it's the explorers and the ones like Spartan that are really coming through the works at the moment.
All right. I want to thank all of our guests today at the Gold Roundtable, Tony Locantro from Alto Capital, Damien Keys from Sunshine Gold, and of course, the wonderful Grady Wulff from Bell Direct. Thanks so much for joining us at the Gold
Thanks for having me.
Yep.
Thanks, guys.